Well, it's my first visit to Istanbul, actually. It was a great introduction to the city. It was a fantastic event. The people I met, all charming, all inquisitive, all knowledgeable, asking a lot of the right questions about the kind of thing we're doing at Bliss and with Cognify here in Turkey. Great lineup of speakers as well. Upcoming technologies is always quite a difficult question. A lot of them burn brightly before either fading off or before people realising the true applications of them. I think there's a lot of talk at the moment about blockchain, a lot of talk about artificial intelligence, and I think a lot of the time when people talk about artificial intelligence, they're meaning machine learning. And from my perspective as an insight professional, I think we've got to be very open to all these new sources of information, but also cautious about their origins, so where they come from, and that can inform appropriate usage of them. Yeah, we're futurists. I think we also have to be pragmatists as well. I think there is a lot of attraction in new sources. I mean, we've been dealing with the swell of big data for a few years now, but I think for all the benefits that brings, we shouldn't ignore the existing sources, the traditional market research, because at the core of all that has to remain the person, the consumer we're interested in, their behaviour, not necessarily always the exhaust fumes of their digital lives, because we've got to see, where their feet take them as well, how their emotions motivate their behaviour, not just necessarily the output of that behaviour, which is often what we see digitally. I think the last 5 or 6 years have seen a lot of advancements in the availability of location data, but the sophistication of it as well. With that comes a lot of bad information as well. The more attractive the source, the more incentive there are for fraudsters to get involved. So our first job is to keep it clean, make sure we're only dealing with good quality, compliant data. And so typically, and I think this is the base level of understanding, is that it's about proximity targeting in real time. I think that ticks most people's boxes of understanding. But what we're increasingly doing is using retargeting. So we build longitudinal behavioural profiles of audiences. So if we see someone in a gym, that doesn't make them a gym goer. But if we see them 3 or 4 times in a gym, we can start to say, yes, they're a gym goer, they have an interest in health and fitness. And from that, we can infer other lifestyle factors that are interesting for marketers. So that's from a media perspective, but what we're starting to branch out into more is beyond media. So it becoming a data-only source to feed into client DMPs, particularly a lot of big ones who don't necessarily have a lot of first-party data. And to also use it for other media attribution. So we're increasingly using location data to help traditional media channels like out of home. So how can they plan their inventory more effectively? How can they attribute success of that as a channel to actually driving people to store? We have recently, this summer, finished probably the first test like this we've done, where a major global sports brand shared with us some football locations of interest. So whether people are playing 5-a-side, 11-a-side, or visiting stadiums. And they wanted to use that information to inform their creative, or where they placed their different creative for AstroTurf boots, screw-in proper football boots, or leisure wear. So we could decide which area of the city was most likely to give them the audience they're interested in for that particular creative.